Hey guys, good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is 5:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. All right, I want to talk about Donald Trump. Yesterday, I watched him finally come out of his bunker after 4 or 5 days of hiding. That's a kickback for all the Trump supporters talking about Biden being hiding in his basement last month. But anyway, so I see him come out and lay the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, and I see a definite change in his demeanor. And I don't know whether I've told you guys I've always had strong feelings of empathy, even for my adversaries. And I loathe the guy. I do. I loathe everything about him. But I almost feel sorry for him. The way he was walking, he had his shoulders kind of slumped, and he had a pouty face, and he didn't speak at all. All we hear from him is his texts claiming that I won. I see that he claimed, and it's another thing, he's ignoring this coronavirus, which is now officially out of control. Last 8 days, over 100,000 new cases a day, but I don't want to get off track. Anyway, so I heard a quote from Donald Trump. I read this a while ago, but I've seen it over and over again. It goes along something like, I always win. I always win. Whether it's at tennis or whether it's at golf, I always win. I tell people this. I always win because I do. I always win. I think I got it just pretty much right. But and I thought about this, and I thought about what he's doing right now, and how Trump supporters see this as never quitting on them. Keeping up the battle. And I have to disagree. Like I've told you guys before. Again, I'm not talking. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to glamorize physical altercations, Donnybrooks as they're called, or fisticuffs, or anything like that. But I've learned a lot from that. Being a tall, 6'4", I was up to almost 300 pounds, and then spending a couple decades in the wrong side of life. I'd go to abusing substances and going to after hours clubs. Motorcycle club headquarters all night and everything. I got in a lot of physical altercations, and I've lost a good 50% of them, to be honest with you, and it doesn't bother me. Let me tell you what. What comes to mind? Back when I was 14 or 15, I was at a roller skating rink here in it was in Waterbury, Connecticut. I think it was called Skate Odyssey. That's what it was called. And I talked smack to the wrong person. He was in a gang in the city, and I didn't know he was a black belt. And as I slowed down to go face to face with him, he just let loose with a few moves and broke my nose. Sent me flying, broke my nose. So I chased him outside. I ran right into a circle of 6 of his friends, and they surrounded me and beat the holy bejesus out of me. Broke my nose, broke the bones underneath my eyes. The doctor called me later that day and said that there was a possibility if I started seeing double vision, it was because my eye might sink. My eye might sink into the socket. Yeah, I got busted up. Oh yeah, and the teeth. I got busted up, but good. And as you can see, I've always taken almost a perverse joy in taking a beating. I find it. There's something I find admirable in being able to bounce back up and go back and learn and continue on. And see, now with Donald Trump refusing to admit that he's ever lost in his life, I look at people that there's sometimes I've come across people in life that claim to have been in a lot of physical altercations but never lost one. And I don't say anything to them at the time, but I think it's untrue, probably more than likely. And if it is true, I feel sorry for them, because until you go through something like that, I think your mind, your imagination makes it a greater fear. It makes it worse than it is. Your imagination, like taking a punch to the face. God knows I've been punched. I can't even count how many times I've been punched to the face. People that have never been hit in the face make it I think your imagination makes it much worse than it is. And you almost fear it, which would affect your future performance, your future And, if whatever we're talking about, it doesn't have to be about, boxing or whatever, or fighting. And with Donald Trump, it's almost, you almost see a fear of losing. His world will end. I heard it called the psychic death. And by avoiding, instead of just coming to terms and being a man and saying, look, I concede. Maybe I could have done a few things better. That right there would be admirable. That would be something that would actually gain him supporters. We see Rubio coming out, and he was asked about Trump running in 2024, and God help us, but Trump's legacy and everything, if he was just a good winner and owned up to it, you could learn from it, and it'd be admirable. And again, see, his base this doesn't apply to his base, because his base lives in a zone of unreality, where common sense doesn't apply. But like I was saying, after getting, I'm using this as an example, but after getting punched in the face a few times, you realize there's a lot of things that are so much worse. It's not, It's not something you want, but it's not that bad. It's really not, and you don't fear it. And not fearing it is important, because then, you don't worry about it, and you're able to focus. And when it happens, you bounce back quick, and it makes you better. What we see now is Trump fearing and doing anything and everything to avoid losing, and making it much worse than it needs to be, making things worse than they really are. Instead of just owning up to it, learning from it, and moving on. I mean, that's how the whole human race evolves, is through mistakes, learning, and moving forward. And like I said, on top of that, I think our imaginations make things much worse. Like I said, with Trump looking at this as some kind of something he could just never have. It can never happen to him. I always win. And by saying that, you can see right there that he would never admit to it, but there's a fear, a real terrified feeling of terror of losing. Because he's never experienced it, or he's never owned up to it, or admitted to it, and it makes it so much worse than it is. It has to be. It makes it worse in his mind, and it makes it worse for us, the country, as we see. He's obsessed with this. When he's not golfing or tweeting, it's like he's given up being a president. There's no governing, besides for him claiming that the new talk of this vaccine. He claimed that was due to him, of course, because it's winning. And other than that, it doesn't look like he's going to do any kind of presidenting, any kind of governing, any kind of anything. And this is directly, I feel, because this fear of losing. That's all he could think about. It's obsessed his mind. Like I said, comparing it to a fight, when you become so terrified of getting hit, you back off, and you can't win. Losing, some things, our imaginations make things much worse than they need to be. And so do our egos. A couple things I think Trump and people like him haven't learned yet. And hopefully they'll see the light. All right. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Thursday.